Hello, everyone, wherever you are on this majestic planet we call Earth. I hope you are having a stimulating day, evening, or night, wherever you happen to be located. Like many of you, I've just now seen the movie Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm not going to give any spoilers. Not one spoiler. I'm just going to go over something that you already know. And that movie, when we saw many of those trailers, Peter Parker went to Dr. Stephen Strange to ask him to have the world forget that he was Spider-Man. I'm not going to tell you nothing about the movie. That's just my premise for today. When he said, let the world forget that Spider-Man existed. But I was thinking, because of that, you saw the mayhem that he caused, because he was saying, don't let Aunt Maybe forget. Don't let Mary Jane forget. Don't let MJ forget. Don't let Ed forget. And because of that, he unleashed that temporal anomaly. All because he didn't want certain people to forget who he was, because it gave him so much comfort as a person that he had people who he could confide in. But I was thinking, instead of saying, let people forget that Spider-Man didn't exist, it's two things he could have asked Doctor Strange. The first thing he could have said to Doctor Strange, let people forget that Mysterio existed. Then, because of that, a couple of things could have happened. Number one, if people forgot that Mysterio existed, they could have forgotten who Spider-Man was. Because if they forgot that Mysterio existed, they definitely would not know that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. But here's the but. If he had done that, if Doctor Strange had forgot to let people know that Mysterio existed, they probably still could remember who Peter Parker was as Spider-Man. But here's the big thing. If they forgot that Mysterio existed, they never would have connected Spider-Man as being a killer. So, they still could have known Peter Parker was Spider-Man, but he would not be undergoing that public persecution. They may have remembered and just know that he's Spider-Man, but he would not have been hated by many people the way he was in the movie. Now, in that movie, that's like in real life. Some people hated him, thinking that Mysterio was, quote, the world's greatest superhero. And some people who Spider-Man saved loved him no matter what. So that's the first thing. Let people forget that Mysterio existed. Here's another thing that Peter Parker could have said. Let that recording never have taken place. See, I'm thinking big, people. He could have said to Doctor Strange, let that recording of Mysterio never have taken place. And there's two scenarios that could have happened. One, to keep the timeline from messing up. Mysterio, he still could have said Peter Parker was Spider-Man, but here's the but. That message, that recording, could have been destroyed or distorted. When he was giving off all them robots command, he could have suffered from an electromagnetic pulse. He could have still said Spider-Man existed, but if an electromagnetic pulse went off, then all the electrical stuff would have not been working. Or, better yet, the recording could have been scrambled. We know how that go. We know how that go. You recording something in real life, then the chance is very low. But when he could have been saying, well, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, that little recording right there when he said Peter Parker, Spider-Man could have been scrambled by the universe somehow. Doctor Strange didn't have to do nothing. He just could have said, let that recording have not taken place, and it could have been scrambled. So, Peter Parker, he should have thought, well, it was just a movie. It's not real. It's just a movie. Because you know how they want to sell tickets for the movie. But if it was real, if it was a real life Spider-Man going through that real life incident, and with his vast intelligence, because you know Peter Parker, he's near genius level intelligence, he would have thought, with careful thought, let something have happened to Mysterio's message. Let people either forgot that the message ever existed, just like he said, I don't want to exist. So he could have said, let the people forget all about Mysterio's message. Or let the message be wiped out of existence the moment he said it. Or number two, he could have said, somehow, let that message have been scrambled. Or, better yet, he could have said, let the world think that Peter Spam is Spider-Man. He could have said something. He had to say Peter Parker. He could have said, now I hope it's not a Peter Ham out there. Because Peter Ham, Peter Spam, Peter Whale, they would have been persecuted. But he could have did research on his computer and said, hey, let me see if this person existed. I know he could have said, let the world think that Peter Bam 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 is Spider-Man. Now I know it's not nobody, no person out there named Peter Bam 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 Bam. He could have did stuff like that. But I said, just a movie is not real. They're selling tickets. So thank you for stopping by on my scenarios that he could have said to Doctor Strange. Because I said, I did not give any spoilers, even though I saw the movies. But I was thinking about how could he have gotten around, but not just saying, let the world forget about Peter Parker. He could have said, let the world forget about that message. Let the world forget that Mysterio existed. That's even better. That said, let the world forget that Mysterio ever existed, and that could have wiped out the tape right there, or the tape would have never have been used. Never. Thank you for stopping by. In the comments section, leave your comment about what possible words that Peter Parker could have said to Doctor Strange, and that led to all that mayhem that was in the movie, if it was real. Thank you for stopping by. Until the next time I make a recording, peace.